Hey, my name's May, and today I'm going to talk about 10 signs that you should break up. If you see me looking down, that is because I have notes. I am a note taker. First thing is domestic abuse. Any case where if you are living with your partner, or even if you're not living with your partner, but they are beating you up, they are injuring you, they are verbally abusing you as well. Any context with that, calling you names, calling you stupid, etc., belittling you in that to that extent, that is a cause to break up. And if you are in that situation and you're watching this video, this is your sign to leave, okay? Leave that situation. And I'm going to leave the number for the domestic abuse hotline in my description below. So if that's your situation, go for it. Please, this is your sign. Because you cannot foster a healthy relationship that is built upon an individual or individuals, could be both people, who cannot use their words to communicate. That is a sign that neither party is ready for a relationship. These 10 signs are in no particular order, but I think all of them are very important things, and domestic abuse, that is first and foremost. If you are in that situation, leave it immediately. It is best for your safety, for the safety of the other individual as well, and so that you both can get the help that you need to become healthier individuals mentally and physically. Now, another sign that you should leave the relationship, that you guys should break up, is if you or your partner has a tendency to disrespect each other. A strong relationship is built upon mutual respect. And so if they can't respect you or you can't respect them, then it's a relationship that is likely doomed to fail. Either you guys figure out how you can become more respectful toward each other and have more respect for each other, or you end the relationship, because it's not going to end well. It just won't. Also, this extends to people you care about or people that they care about. If your best friend and this person can't get along, there might be a reason for that. So maybe it would be a good sign to have a conversation with each party, either together or separately, as to why they have issues. At the end, you'll have to determine, really, it doesn't have to be an ultimatum, but just know that there's going to continue to be stress in your relationships with your friend and with your partner. It would be best to try and get that resolved. At some point, it is likely there will be an impasse in which you will either have to choose your friend or your partner. And that is ultimately up to you to decide. I've mentioned on this channel before that friendship is very important, and abandoning your friends for a potential relationship may be detrimental in the long run. Use your friend's perspective of your partner, especially if you've known that friend much longer than you've known your partner, as a good sign as to whether you should continue to pursue that relationship or not, and take their words very seriously. Also, pay attention to how they treat their own family, because likely if you are in a relationship and you're intending to pursue a long-term relationship with this person, then how they treat their family is how eventually they're going to treat you. So if they aren't respectful toward their mom or their dad or their brother or their sister, and when I say aren't respectful towards, generally belittling, they're rude, they yell at them a lot, that kind of thing, and not banter, not like just, oh, you're crazy, you little goofball. Like, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about like flat out no respect. And their mom asks them to do dishes, and then they're like, no, hag. That's how they're going to treat you. So that is also something worth considering, that if they can't have respect for individuals in their household now, that maybe they're not ready for a relationship or to coexist with another individual right now. The next thing that I think is really important in determining whether you should break up or not is if they belittle your interests, if they make you feel less than for the things that you like or that interest you. Eventually, you're probably going to have to choose one or the other. And if you're sick and tired of being made fun of because you enjoy something, or they can't get over the fact that you have a certain interest, then you guys just aren't compatible, and it would make more sense to break up, because you shouldn't have to be a fake version of yourself in order to maintain a relationship. A good relationship is genuine. It requires both parties to be genuine as well. Another thing to keep in mind as to whether you should break up or not is if they make time for you. If this person doesn't make time for you, then it might be a sign that you should break up. It depends on what your goals are in this relationship. I mean, it depends on what their job is like, if they have a job. It depends on your age group too. Say that every time you want to do something with them, you want to take a trip, you want to go on a little day trip, or you might want to go get dinner, that they only want to spend time with their friends. They only want to spend time with a family member, and they just don't seem to be making time for you. That might be a sign that you guys should break up, because it shows that their priorities lie elsewhere. And in a relationship, it's very important that you have the mentality to prioritize your partner. And so your partner should be in the top list of your priorities. And your priorities don't only have to be one thing or one person, but they should be at the top of your list. And so if they don't understand that, it might be time to have a conversation about what your priorities are, see if you can work it out. If you guys don't see eye to eye, then it might be time to break up. Another sign that you should break up is if they don't take you seriously, or they don't take your feelings seriously. So again, that goes back to if you're being belittled, but also if you express that something they did bothers you, and then they instead start to make fun of you for feeling the way that you feel, that might be a sign that you should break up, because you can't express yourself. You can't express your feelings in a safe environment. This person clearly, if they're making fun of you for your feelings toward a matter, then, and they're not taking your feelings seriously, then that is a strong implication that they have no intent to change their behavior. That also implies that they are not emotionally mature. Emotional maturity is really important in a stable relationship as well. And taking each other's feelings is serious as well. If you're not taking their feelings seriously, that's also like you don't believe them. You don't believe that they feel the way that they feel, or that they have the right to have those feelings. Another thing to keep in mind as to whether you should break up or not is if you guys fight a lot. Like if you tend to just not see eye to eye on most things, and also in tandem with that, if they tend to make you feel like it's your fault and only your fault that you either have the argument or that you are always wrong, that may also be a sign that you should break up. Not in every case, because having your little disagreements, having sometimes arguments, that is a normal part of a relationship. Like no two people are perfect and no two people are the same, and so they're going to disagree on things, and that's a typical occurrence within a relationship. But if every single time you have an argument, only one party has to acquiesce, then that might be a sign, because it should be give and take in a relationship. It should be that each half of the relationship is able to give sometimes and to take sometimes. It's just not fair otherwise if only one person is doing that. One really important sign as to whether you should break up or not is if they cannot control their temper. If little things, like say you forget to put mayo on their sandwich and they get livid, they get super mad, they get unnecessarily upset, that might be a sign that you guys should break up. This goes either way. Sometimes both people might have that issue as well. You both have tempers and you both struggle to keep those tempers under control, and it just fires. That is a sign that you should break up. Controlling your temper is a super, super, super important part of maintaining a healthy relationship. When we get mad, we sometimes say things, do things that we really don't mean to do, but it just kind of comes out. And it's one thing if it's, every once in a while that you get madder than maybe you should have, but also it's very important to have the emotional maturity to determine whether it was warranted for you to get that upset and whether you can control that anger in the future. Not every situation requires anger to come to a consensus. In fact, most of them don't. Again, if their temper gets so intense that you start to feel scared of them, that is another sign. Break up. because a romantic relationship should be a safe place. It should not be a place that has fear. And a relationship like that cannot sustain itself if one or both parties reside in fear of making the other person mad. It just doesn't work. Another sign that you should break up is if they cannot control their spending. If they don't take budgets seriously, but you do, incompatibility there. You guys could talk, have a conversation. If they're continuously unwilling to mitigate spending and to keep their spending reasonable or keep their spending according to a budget that you both plan on, not one person being more controlling over money than the other, but a budget that you both agree upon, and they're unwilling to continue on that budget even though you've already made agreements about it, that may be a sign. In a legally bound relationship, if that is your goal, if you guys get married, their debt becomes your debt. You have to understand that the way they spend money will also end up affecting you. So if you notice that they always get the most expensive thing, even though they don't have to get the most expensive thing, and you know that they cannot afford that, may need to have a deeper conversation. If you guys can't come to an agreement on it, that may be a sign you should break up. Another really important sign as to whether you should break up or not is watch their communication. Do they communicate well? Are they a good communicator? Do you have the tendency to check in with each other? Does the way they communicate, does it fuel a positive conversation or a negative conversation? Do you always have to draw out more information from them to get the answer that you need? Or also, do they get upset at you if you do not understand them immediately? That's also something worth considering. Are they open to talking freely with you? Are they willing to get emotionally vulnerable with you? Those are also things worth considering. Communication is just so vital in a relationship. You have to talk to each other. But not only do you have to talk to each other, you have to fully understand what the other person is thinking. I mean, not 100%. You can't 100% know what your partner is thinking at all times. But that's also why verbally communicating with them is so important, because we can't read each other's minds. So sometimes there's going to be misunderstandings, but good communication attempts to eliminate as many misunderstandings as possible. And so if they are unwilling to attempt to minimize misunderstandings, like if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. So might be a sign to break up. Now, the last thing I'm going to bring up, but it is very important. It is very important. The last thing I'm going to bring up as to whether you should break up or not is whether they are flirtatious with other people or not. Do they tend to be flirting with other people? Do they tend to be touchy with other people? Do they tend to have secret conversations on their phone that they don't want you to see? Not to say that their phone is inherently your business, but it also leads to the question as to what is on your phone that you don't want me to see. Do they have a tendency to be pretending that they're not in a relationship? Not every relationship warrants this concern. But if you already are in a relationship where you're concerned about the fidelity of your partner, one, you may need to do some soul searching as to why you have that issue and see how you can potentially fix it, but also why you may feel in the context of that relationship that your partner is not trustworthy. Have this conversation with your partner as well in a calm way, because no one likes to just feel like they're being accused all the time. But if your partner is doing things that make you feel like you cannot trust them, it's best to explain that to them. Again, this is where it comes back, taking your feelings seriously. Do they believe you? Or do they just say, well, you shouldn't feel that way? That may be a reason to break up, because a good relationship is built upon trust. If you cannot trust that person, how you gonna be in the same house with that person? Trust is 100% vital in a long-term good relationship. And if you don't have that with your partner, you and your partner are just not developing that trust either and not able to develop that trust, it's a good sign that you should break up. That is 10 signs you should break up. This is not for every single case. Not every single relationship is on the verge of needing to break up. That is not the point of this video at all. The point of this video is that hopefully, if you notice one of these 10 things might apply to your situation, sit down and have a conversation with your partner about it. Think on it. Determine as to whether things can improve. Because ideally, if you love this person, it is worth the effort to try and save the relationship. This video is just to bring light to some of the things that could be concerning and that you may want to try and weed out of your relationship so that it can be a lot stronger. Thank you for watching. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope this video helped you and helped you see some things that maybe are worth changing in your relationship or worth just, thinking over as to whether it might be something that could worry you in the future. Things to look out for if you decide to date, situations that you want to avoid. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you thought about these signs in the comments below. I read and reply to every single comment that I get, so I look forward to interacting with you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!